Okay, hello everyone, welcome to another episode. The title of tonight's episode is From Standing in the Sun to Standing in the Sun. And when I say standing in the sun the second time, I mean actually standing in the sun. I feel like there's something called the Kardashev scale. And the Kardashev scale sees different types of civilization based on what sort of energy and access they have. It's like a type 1 civilization uses the power of its planet. I believe type 2 harnesses the power of the sun, the solar system, and then it goes type 3, which is on a galactic level. And even we have in the idea of the Bhagavad Gita, not idea, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the book, there is, I don't know the exact passage, but I know this is there, that there is a suggestion of beings that live in the sun. So there is literally an ancient book on this planet, suggesting, transcendental narratives that work in the void. Now, when it comes to the type 2 civilization, a civilization that can control, let's say, the power of its sun, and there's various videos online where you could see different people have come up with different strategies of how to do this. Theoretical strategies. And so I thought that if our species became so advanced that we're controlling the power of the sun, like we could control the sun, and what would we use the sun for? And to me it occurred that if there was an advanced civilization, whether ahead of us or whether before us, or whatever manner, it's like the civilization, let's say, that was in the planet earlier and that had evolved, you can say that they had transcended living on a planet. Do you know? It could be something of the sort where, this is my personal view, I've shared in other talks, I feel that the sun is a broadcasting system, and it's broadcasting the potential patterns of life intelligence, and particles that have that potential in some sense animate and become life forms. I feel that we are treating light as a photon or a wave, but we're not realizing that it could surpass our mere sight. That means there is a speed to light, but it's like that question that we say in time, a person, like in space-time, Albert Einstein's space-time at least, in there he is suggesting that the faster we go towards the speed of light, the slower time becomes. Eventually, if you go as faster than the speed of light, you become kind of timeless, right? And people have thought in some sense, okay, so if I go so fast towards the speed of light, there is no time. But then we see children who don't have the concept of time yet. Do you see? So in some sense we have come to a point, or people who have fun, they say time flies when you have fun. It's like flies at the speed beyond the speed of light. Probably. There is too much glorification of imagery that is acting as the inner hope can replace one's life, of course. I feel that the sun is the most perfect instrument to share, and we say light is the smallest energy carrier system. Light. Excuse me, to continue. There's so many ways that the world can be accessed by a brain in the space-time continuum. The brain was required before the emergence of identity, but the only way we identify with the brain is with the consideration that there's also a mind. And if the mind and the body are codependent, that means we need a mind to understand the body, a body to understand the mind. Eventually, it reaches a point where we surpass the language that we use for the mind and the behavior we have as a body. So it's as if there's no telling how sophisticated the energetic intelligence of the human being will be. It's as if a person could see a Tai Chi master, let's say, in the park, kind of moving his hands slowly. But how humanized is that relationship with energy? One can even say that if there was no human culture, I mean, we know that we would descend to animalism. But now let's ask the question: if there was no animalism, it would perhaps be just energetic being, and it could be that life learns from its stillness, then animates its movement. You know, recently, very recently, I had a dream, and in the dream, it was like a near death experience in the dream. And there was a moment where in the dream I felt it's like a last moment of me being here in the world. You see, there's a way where I am being into the world, and then there's a way I am being to myself as the world. And it felt to me in that dream state as if it was like the last moment where I was being as me in the world. And in that last moment, my final thoughts came, and I realized we have forgotten it's a journey. We have forgotten it's a journey, and we are getting convinced by landscape. And so it's as if someone wants to communicate beyond the language threshold, what can they do? Creatures in the void, dancing and playing their songs. Before the curtain is pulled. The human mind is so sensitive that we, by the nature of just knowing so little about it, don't realize how to utilize it, how to use it. And for those people who see the greater context of the world as lifeless, your mind is being lifeless to you. And for those who see the context of it to be alive, it's like when life is in the room, life is in the room. In front of me, I have a book that has found me, and this book is called "I Am That: Talks with Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj." And I have opened a random page of this, page 313, and it's called "Transiency is Proof of Unreality." And Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj is like a very liberated being. I gotta put down the pen for this. Questioner: my friend is a German, and I was born in England of French parents. I am in India for over a year, wandering from ashram to ashram. Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj says any spiritual practices, as if Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj is like, okay, you've been here for a year. It's like, what have you done? So any sadhanas, and the questioner says studies and meditation. And then Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj says, what did you meditate on? The questioner says, on what I read. And Shri Ramana Maharshi says, good. The questioner says, what are you doing, sir? Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj says, sitting. Questioner says, and what else? Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj says, talking. Guys, I don't know if the audience can visualize this, but Srinasagadad Maharaj is a yogi in India. This European gentleman has gone to Srinasagadad Maharaj, and he's saying that all he's doing is just sitting and talking, as if truth is simpler than that. Even the questioner says, and what else? Srinasagadad Maharaj says, talking. The questioner says, what are you talking about? Srinasagadad Maharaj says, do you want a lecture? Better ask something that really touches you so that you feel strongly about it. Unless you're emotionally involved, you may argue with me, but there will be no real understanding between us. If you say nothing worries me, I have no problems, it is all right with me, we can keep quiet. But if something really touches you, then there is purpose in talking. Shall I ask you? What is the purpose of you're moving from place to place? The questioner says to meet people, to try to understand them. Srinasagadad Maharaj says, what people are you trying to understand? What exactly are you after? The questioner says integration. Srinasagadad Maharaj says, if you want integration, you must know whom you want to integrate. The questioner says, by meeting people and watching them, one comes to know oneself also. It goes together. Maharaj says it does not necessarily go together. The questioner says one improves the other. Maharaj says it does not work that way. The mirror reflects the image, but the image does not improve the mirror. You're neither the mirror nor the image in the mirror. Having perfected the mirror so that it reflects correctly, truly, you can turn the mirror around and see it in a true reflection of yourself, true as far as the mirror can reflect, but the reflection is not yourself. You are the seer of the reflection. Do understand it clearly. Whatever you may perceive, you are not what you perceive. Questioner says, I am the mirror and the world is the image? Question mark. Questioner is freaking out. Questioner says Maharaj says you can see both the image and the mirror. You are neither. Who are you? Don't go by formulas. The answer is not in words. The nearest you can say in words is I am what makes perception possible, the life beyond the experiencer and his experience. Now, can you separate yourself both from the mirror and the image in the mirror and stand completely alone, all by yourself? The questioner says, no, I cannot. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj says, how do you know that you cannot? There's so many things you're doing without knowing how to do it. You digest, you circulate your blood and lymph, you move your muscles, all without knowing how. In the same way you perceive, you feel, you think without knowing the why and how of it. Similarly, you are yourself without knowing it. There is nothing wrong with you as the self. It is what it is to perfection. It is the mirror that is not clear and true, and therefore gives you false images. You need not correct yourself, only set right your idea of yourself. Learn to separate yourself from the image and the mirror. Keep on remembering, I am neither the mind nor its ideas. Do it patiently and with conviction, and you will surely come to the direct vision of yourself as the source of being. Knowing, loving, eternal, all-embracing, all-pervading. You are the infinite focused in a body. Now you see the body only. Try earnestly and you will come to see the infinite only. The questioner says, the experience of reality, when it comes, does it last? Maharaj says, all experience is necessarily transient, but the ground of all experience is immovable. Nothing that may be called an event will last, but some events purify the mind and some stain it. Moments of deep insight and all-embracing love purify the mind, while desires and fears, envy and anger, blind beliefs and intellectual arrogance pollute and dull the psyche. Questioner says, is self-realization so important? Maharaj says, without it you will be consumed by desires and fears, repeating themselves meaninglessly in endless suffering. Most people do not know that there can be an end to pain, but once they have heard the good news, obviously going beyond all strife and struggle is the most urgent task that can be. Excuse me. You can be free, and now it is up to you. Either you remain forever hungry and thirsty, longing, searching, grabbing, holding, ever losing and sorrowing, or go out wholeheartedly excuse me, in search of the state of timeless perfection to which nothing can be added, from which nothing taken away. In it all desires and fears are absent, not because they were given up, but because they have lost their meaning. The questioner says, so far I have been following you. Now, what am I expected to do? Maharaj says, there's nothing to do. Just be. Do nothing. Be. No climbing mountains and sitting in caves. I do not even say be yourself, since you do not know yourself. Just be. Having seen that you are neither the outer world of perceivables nor the inner world of thinkables, that you are neither body nor mind, just be. The questioner says, surely there are degrees of realization. This questioner wants to take something back to Europe. Maharaj says there are no steps to self-realization. There is nothing gradual about it. It happens suddenly and is irreversible. You rotate into a new dimension, seen one from which the previous ones are mere abstractions, just like on sunrise. You see things as they are, so on self-realization you see everything as it is. The world of illusions is left behind. So this is in my talks, I've referred to this as the original earth, finding the original earth. And it's like the original state of body and the original state of mind. Questioner. In the state of realization, do things change? They become colorful and full of meaning? Maharaj says the experience is quite right, but it is not the experience of reality, but of harmony. Excuse me, it's not the experience of reality. Sadhanubhava, oh my god, Sadhanubhav, but of harmony. Satvana Nubhav. Sounds like a Russian last name. Indo-Russian last name. But of harmony of the universe. Okay, I'll read it again. The experience is quite right, but it is not experience of reality, but of harmony of the universe. Questioner. Nevertheless, there is progress. Maharaj says there can be progress only in the preparation, sadhana. Realization is sudden. The fruit ripens slowly, but falls suddenly and without return. The questioner says, I am physically and mentally at peace. What more do I need? Maharaj Shirona, oh my god, Shin Sargadat Maharaj says, yours may not be the ultimate state. You will recognize that you have returned to your natural state by a complete absence of all desire and fear. After all, at the root of all desire and fear is the feeling of not being what you are. Just as a dislocated joint pains only as long as it is out of shape and is forgotten as soon as it is set right, so is all self-concern a symptom of mental distortion which disappears as soon as one is in the normal state. So what he means here, just a quick commentary, it's as if people's suffering is not per se because of even mismanagement only. It is, I think, because there is a nature, there is like an original state, you know, like a way intelligence was before it was. And that's what Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj is pointing at. Oh my god, so guys, there is, how many more pages left? There is 528 pages left. Okay, gotta go slow. No, I'm joking. I'm gonna read one more response from Maharaj and I'll end it there. The questioner says, yes, but what is the sadhana for achieving, yes, but what is the sadhana for achieving the natural state? Maharaj, Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj says, hold on to the sense I am, to the exclusion of everything else. When thus the mind becomes completely silent, it shines with a new light and vibrates with new knowledge. It all comes spontaneously. You need only hold on to that, to the I am. Just the I am is in quotations here. Just like emerging from sleep or a state of rapture, you feel rested and yet you cannot explain why and how you come to feel so well. In the same way, on realization, you feel complete, fulfilled, free from pleasure-pain complex, and yet not always able to explain what happened, why, and how. You can put it only in negative terms. Nothing is wrong with me any longer. It is only by comparison with the past that you know that you are out of it. Otherwise, you are just yourself. Don't try to convey it to others. Oops. No, I'm joking. There's way more than Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. His eyes were open, but the world has its eyes open too. If you can, it is not the real thing. Be silent and watch it expressing itself in action. Yeah. Oh, okay. In the context of, yeah, it goes beyond language and you can't say it. Definitely beyond the language threshold, I would say. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, that's it. Be silent and watch it expressing itself in action. That's all we gotta do. And people are like, what is truth? You know, what book should I read? Reality is changing, so it makes sense to ride the waves of a changing system rather than the declaration of just a fixed system. This life, at the moment, is prone to many errors. And what I mean is that we don't have an advanced civilization. We technically have just an illusion of civilization. It's more like a lifeless machine than a civilization, I would say. The efforts of human beings should tackle global problems, and we should perceive it as if there are giants on Earth that we have to defeat giant problems as a species, you know. As the giant problems on Earth, then we gotta go fight the giants in the sky, then the giants beyond the atmospheres. And these are not actual giants, these are giant problems, gigantic problems that so many human beings have to just literally, like a valve opening a water valve, and it's just filling that space. Human beings have to implement their life force, you know. And if there is this ultimate reality that this whole time we have been dressed in finite language, not realizing we're infinite, if we are truly infinite, then the nature of energy, relationship, love and loss, all of that shift and change. So it could be that we have to start preparing for, strangely, you can say civilization 1.0 was life and death. Civilization 2.0 is, I find it would be in some sense the opposite, where for the first time we will feel at home in our energetic home. That means it's energy, it's so mysterious what the being is, that it's like, what is energy even? Right? We define energy as something that can't be created or destroyed. And then we fear death, but we're made of energy. Like it's really, there's something, we are energy. So there's so many ways the eyes can lift off, or in some sense land. Right? So that's my fascination, that in my last moment, what would be the lift off like? I feel it would just be just a very fast lift off, something like this. Because once it gets to know their known self, and they get to know their unknown self, and then they get to serve their known realm, and they also get to serve their unknown realm, they have completed. They have completed all possible, imagine if life was a video game, all possible moves. And then they become space. And so we, believe it or not, I find the species is on its way of, we are like, it's like this, 2020 we were on the earth 2000, let's say 220, we were on the earth, and we were on ourselves. That means we have collective will. That means the surpassing of the boundary of the biological body for consciousness. It will happen, and it will be actually the pure abolishment of suffering. The moment we can move in our movement in a way we have never moved before, the meaning of the whole moment by the command of the new is changed. I'm telling you, there are forces here that there is no understanding after some point. There is abidance. That means it's just through nature, as if every person right now alive, they don't realize it, but there is a glow. That means if imagine in a purely geometrical dimension, or just like we have infrared, let's say there was a sort of range of sight that was just pure geometric, you would see every human being giving off different geometrical shapes, just pure geometrical shapes. That means when it comes to speech, and the strangest thing, one thing that this may sound strange, but I would say I consider this divinity, and people are gonna be like, probably they're gonna challenge it. I encourage the challenge, but I'll say this: for me, if our biological bodies were not symmetrical, I would not probably care to go this deep as I am now. The symmetry of the body is the strangest thing. I'm telling you, symmetry, like when it comes to the geometry of the realm, there's something, it's just mind-boggling. It's like a mirror effect, or it's like perpendicular dimensions, and it's as if we were made between two dimensions in a right angle. I feel true knowledge is not filling a backpack. It has to be trying to see behind something, behind your current worldview. Because our eyes change, everything changes. And it's so strange that I feel it's like we can feel either we're 8 billion pilots, or we can feel we're 8 billion passengers. When I look at my body, I'm like, oh, my body is a passenger of my mind's plane of intelligence. And then I see, oh, my mind is a passenger of where my body goes. It's like the soul suddenly came into the room and looked at its mind and body was like, cut it out, and suddenly enlightenment. I feel that everything that exists is like the content of an unknown mind that has become conscious. We can say that this is a I don't know, metaphysically inclined idea, but I feel if there's a possibility that we are the imagination, the spontaneity of the arrival of all form, just like a sudden thought can occur in the mind. I thought, what if the whole universe is like the inner space of some unfathomable intelligence, and we are like the thoughts of truth right now. And if we were the thoughts of truth, then by the mere whim, I mean, I can, like, people can see in this talk how many concepts I've brushed past. So, similarly, I feel for an infinite being, for the infinite dimensions of our joy belongs to the infinite dimension of our intelligence. Fear belongs to the finite. Beyond any sort of finite identification, at least in the inner realms of the person, they can experience non-dual infinity. It's super easy. You just accept your moment of being as being before you do anything in it, really. It's as simple as that, I'm telling you. You just sit somewhere and you watch your whole moment of life as if it's this movie, and after some point you'll be like, why, oh my god, I'm alive, I'm existing as a creature in a realm. There's 8 billion of us, we're on a rock in the middle of nowhere, there's endless puzzles to solve in the realm in order for the species to be able to continue. There's a giant unknown dimension in front of our eyes, there's a giant unknown dimension behind our eyes. And I feel this is perhaps the wisdom. We have to use nature's pace to build an advanced civilization. Because if the mind runs too fast, it can forget the body. And when it forgets the body, then it has to come back to the body. That means I feel some people say, I mean, there's the concept of forgetfulness, but I will say there is also this concept that their memory is not seen as a file cabinet. Or like Google search results. Memory is a field, and when a person enters the field, they get access to the whole of it, to all the memories at once. It's like a person in a garden of flowers, you know, and they're like, and the people only see like one flower in the hand of the person, but they don't see the person standing in a flower garden. The pure lands are filled. With mighty efforts of universal contentment. It is okay to know more than we know, to realize the unknown is the most that we can know about a scenario that as long as we are the small, we can't access the big. This is the nature. For how long are human beings going to feel just hopeless? I mean, there is possibility. That means if you were to try to, this is a strange word to put together, but imagine solar potential, SOULAR, that word solar implying the concept of the archaic concept of the soul, and the word solar, light, because without light we would see no body. Without a body we can't even fathom a soul to the body. So light is the permission of the reasoning that leads to the conclusion that it is multidimensionally being here, whatever that is, right? And so this symbiosis with the collective future is important. And I feel those people who they ride the waves of love, compassion, sincerity, we just want an honorable species to max out its efforts to see what it would be like before the curtains are pulled, really. And you know, there's so many paradises in the mind. One has to even, I will tell you, just like one can see the concept of hell as an illusion, one can see the concept of heaven as an illusion, even from the theological standpoint. For me, when I asked myself where is earth, and through the theological lens, it occurred to me that it's as if earth, what was location before creation. This world is alive, and if we limit the intelligence to just what the brain is doing, then it's as if we have thrown the towel and we're done. You see, that's the thing about materialism. It's like we thought we figured it out this early, huh? 250,000 years, and yeah, people have certainties, you know. You know, if we're in literally the middle of nowhere, and And you know how many wars over beliefs have started in this realm? It's ridiculous. The advance must be ushered in, and it must be ushered in because the future deserves the push. You see, my strategy is that you can't really save people in the present. There is nobody to save in the moment. If we look at a time classification of past, present, future, in the past you can't save the past, but you can honor them. You can save the mind of the past. Like when we talk about Socrates, we keep the effort of that human being's mind alive. So the past, we can't save the past because in some sense the past is past. We can honor their minds though. The present, we can just honor the present. There is no idea of self to in some sense save or to do any saving when you realize the whole universe is one activity, one event, is one grand happening. Those who realize this, your suffering should evaporate. If it doesn't, I don't know, go stand in the sun, or go stand in the sun, if you're cool enough, Technically, if every human brain is perceiving the sun, there is 8 billion suns in the inner realms. And I don't know. I have no idea that in all this time that I've been giving these talks, you know what it has been? It has been for me the same, using the talk as a win-win. Where for me it's a domain of exploration of the experience to see truly what's going on in the realm, but on the other angle it's also something for the world stage, hopefully one day. There is a force. I will say that there is a force. There was a person I forget the name, Reza Giorgiani. He spoke about the Gnostic idea of the demiurge and that there is a divine war going on, in some sense interdimensional war, The demiurge perceives the unifying truth. So what it is that it's as if two collective cloud-like beings, invisible field-like beings, are overlaid upon our earth. Now, this is a suggestion of interdimensional interference, and everything I'm saying right now, exclude your emotional dimension, just see it as a theoretical, if for those who want to equate my voice. What I will say, the beyond is the only road ahead, and those who do not have the strength to see beyond themselves, you have forgotten the nature of this system. This world was never just to, even I'll say it in this angle maybe, this world was never just here to be lived only. And even though I'm saying advanced civilization, all this, I'm saying that's the greatest game we can play in the outer realms. But what this world is here, I would say there was never a personality alive or a personality die. It was just watchers of change. We watched change, and it's like change was watching us, and then we became conscious and we start watching change, and then again change will watch. It will revert. And of course there is choice. I mean, like, there's this ceremony in Buddhism when a person passes away, 40 monks come around and they just chant to endlessly guide that being in the spirit realm, let us say, in the bardo. And the bardo state is in some sense beyond, so it's surpassing antar loka. So that means it's like after you're done with the body and you're done with if you're not done with the mind, most likely you got to play with the mind again. But if you're done with the mind and you're the seriousness of the attention of the being is direct, that means after some point in this life, whoever you are, whatever ideology you have, it will drop. I'm telling you, every identification a human being has to an energetic instantaneous essence, that it's like it's all leaves, and it's like when the seasons pass, the leaves fall, but the tree stands. Your true presence cannot go away. It has to be here. I'm telling you, there's something about existence. In order for it to exist, there has to be energy. In order for there to energy, there has to be conscious space. I don't know how to say it. It's like something, it's like different dimensions joined together, and now we want to explain which dimension came first, and it has the possibility of endless ways of putting it together, really. In the future, let's say we find a way to stand in the sun, and we go in the sun and we're like, oh my god, like the Antarctica of the sun is inside the sun, imagine. Or imagine we go inside the sun and we see it's literally like, I don't know, the human civilization before us went and lived there, you know. That means we weren't the earliest birds of civilization that surpassed the atmosphere. Wow, we are not the only ones that went beyond the atmosphere. Why not, as a hypothesis, I find. There's so many stories. I mean, like, we're living in a world where everybody's like, reality, reality, reality. But there is imagination. There's the concept of magic. There is the concept of art. There's the concept of myth. Do you know there is history? There is fiction. There is science fiction. What are these? Right? These are deviations from an objective realm, but in our minds. So it's like in front of our eyes we see an object, but the object behind our eyes is multiple probabilities of angles of quicker self-creation before physical movement. That means my inner realms are like a river, and when I speak, I'm scooping with a cup. Or I'll say it differently. It's literally seeing a film when you speak rhythmically, at least in my experience, when you tap into the rhythms of nature, the film goes on its own. And if you have trust and you're chill enough with your own mind, you get to see your mind. And then after a person notices they're not their mind, that takes a huge leap. But after, I mean, it's honestly, to the future, it would just be, we have an ability like changing the settings of a phone to tune out and to alter, or not alter, to journey instantaneously between states of being where the doer is not existent, so it's dehumanized, and states of being where it's humanized. Like, I can't emphasize this enough, that to be human is an effort. And if a person stops being human, it's like the instincts come. Now, if the instincts are, the person gets bored with their instincts, like, and when I say bored with their instincts, that means the wilderness is important in a robotic society, but but to completely let go and let wilderness take over, a person can get stuck in their inner realms. So the discretion of our awareness, that means if a person doesn't attempt, I mean, like, doesn't walk with the human style, then it's like You know, we have lost our humanity before we put on our shoes. So there is something with still, like, I'm still waiting for that advanced humanity to arise. You know, it's as if the seeds are planted and they're probably in the next 30 years they're going to sprout. That means I feel right now we don't realize it, but the global stage right now, media is nonsense. Wait until media sharpens up, the media of all industries, I don't care. They will suddenly realize knowledge is the game. That means you can make entertainment with the clarity of the deeper complex layers of what's going on with the realm. That means they, in the future, the children's cartoons and stuff. I remember when I was a kid and I would watch cartoons, what that was like. And I'll tell you, in the future, it's going to be literally like the Discovery Channel disguised as a cartoon show, you know? Because the nature of the realm is important. The quicker you give people information, the quicker you have equipped them in the battlefield, right? That means it's like, what's worse than just a bunch of soldiers? Imagine a bunch of points of attention in a multidimensional battlefield. It's like the best thing they can, like, okay, let me say it this way. What's worse than that is that they're not armed. And what we need to arm people with is not weapons. It is self-awareness. It is a mirror. Mirrors are going to save the individual. Now we have to create a collective mirror, and that collective mirror is our morality and decency as a species and how we walk honorably into the world story. That means in the future there's going to be probably a dishonor thing. That means a person can do whatever, but if they have dishonor, and when I say dishonor, I mean either if we're going to have a story for the world, we choose the greatest, or if we're not, do you know what I mean? It's like, what was it? It was like, go big or go home, right? So man either aims to become interstellar, or he forgets that Earth is just a stepping stone. Anyways, thanks for listening, and there's definitely more ideas on this topic. I might do a second part in the future. Namaste.